is buzzing with the gospel truth. Every line a fountain of youth. Bible open pages turning slow. Feel the Spirit start to flow. Chat is buzzing with the gospel truth. Every line a fountain of youth. Bible open pages turning slow. Feel the Spirit start to flow.
Flat cap pastor dashing through pages. Chronicles, Gospels, prophets, sages. Leviticus, laws to Paul's fine phrases. Turning them corners, your spiritual mazes. Genesis to Revelation, so divine. Flip them scripts, endless grace you'll find. Psalms singing sweet, unbroken lines. Hitting that rhythm, wordplay refined. Anybody in here blessed? Anybody in here blessed? Bible in 1 year, we don't rest. Anybody in here blessed? Wake up early, the dawn's light shimmers. Spiritual breakfast, soul food dinners. Isaiah's vision, Ezekiel's figures. Walk through the fire, no one limbers. Kings and judges, prophets profound. Plowing the word, no mythical ground. Verse after verse, wisdom's bound. Heavenly soundtrack, soul serving sound. Anybody in here blessed? Anybody in here blessed? Bible in 1 year, we don't rest. Anybody in here blessed? No shortcuts, all divine routes. Listen to the whispers, no room for doubt. Parables drop stronger than gold faucets. Souls hydrated from divine prophets. Study the book, change perspectives. Carefully crafted, not too subjective. A year to reflect, learning perfect. Patterns of grace that time can't deflect. Old Testament drops deep and so real. Kings and warriors, covenant seals. Split that Red Sea, divine reveal. Commandments written, not made of steel. Bethlehem birth to cross on the hill. Unfolding the nappy blessings, pastor with skill. Scripture flip, every verse fulfilled.
Through the word, every verse, every chapter, nothing unheard. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Yo, online sermons, holy vibes delivered, spreading light, got the sinners reconsidered. Psalm to psalm, man's like a holy DJ, flipping through scripture, repping the Yahweh. Them emotes in the chat, praising the message. Flat cap on point, teaching eternal lessons. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Digital pulpit, preaching like like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick, raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick. Virtual congregation, united in devotion. 1 year strong, a spiritual promotion. He's a life coach with divine instructions. Streaming holiness, no room for interruption. Flat cap changed the game, new pastoral fame. Virtual shepherd, he's embracing the mainframe. In the comments, affirmatives and amens. With each Goliath tackled, faith extend. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Yo, online sermons, holy vibes delivered, spreading light, got the sinners reconsidered. Psalm to psalm, man's like a holy DJ, flipping through scripture, repping the Yahweh. Emotes in the chat, praising the message. Flat cap on point, teaching eternal lessons. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick, raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick. Virtual congregation, united in devotion. 1 year strong, a spiritual promotion. He's a life coach with divine instructions. Streaming holiness, no room for interruption. Flat cap changed the game, new pastoral fame. Virtual shepherd, he's embracing the mainframe. In the comments, affirmatives and amens. With each Goliath tackled, faith extend. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. 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 Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick, raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Sounds all right. Sounds all right. I was noticing there, I need to get the Blessing Boat promo off of the slides. Have to do that later. Dun, dun, dun. Hey, Onesimus. Good to see you, friend. Hey, may have time today. We can play around with VTube if today's a good day to do that, friend. Let me know. Let me know. I'll be here until about 10, and 10 to 10:30 will be what we got. Okay.
Ukulele Force just rated with 70 viewers.
70 viewers. Let's get some hype. Bum bum bum. Violet Wind. Welcome in. Supersonic Saved by Grace. Welcome in. The Witch Pinball Guy. Uh-oh. Welcome in. Living Frost, good to see you. Good to have you in here, Living Frost. Ukulele, good to see you. Blaster Yoda, welcome in. What the darn? All right, welcome in. Good to have you. Let's see. Okay, that's what that is. So, glad to have everybody coming in. Ukulele, good to see you. Good way to start the week off. Although, you think, the first day of time change is difficult. I usually find it's the next couple of days that get harder than the first day. Onesimus is going to preload your Discord DM with links. Will be for VTuber. You can ignore me until then. Okay. Sounds good. Monday, yes. It is. Well, it could be. It could be a different day if you're the other side of the world. It could already be Tuesday for a few people. Could already be Tuesday. Spring forward, yes. If you're in the northern hemisphere. Spring back if you're in the southern hemisphere, I guess. Because our friends down under will make time change at some point as well. What's interesting is not everyone globally does it at the same time. Not everyone does the same time change. I think Europe is in a week or two And then somewhere in there is Australia and New Zealand if they switch. I'm not sure. I'm guessing they do. I know that Australia does. So, welcome in, Raiders. Bum, 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 bum. Those that do not know, I am Flat Cap, Dapper Pastor. I have hats. I have fish. We read the Bible. I do have another channel where you can just go hang out with the fish all the time if you want. On Mondays and Fridays, we get done here, and we will go co-working over on the fish channel. Nice, relaxing. I still need to, I don't know what it is. I like put music on to play. And then after so long, it just stops playing. Like, you know, I don't know if like when you're watching Netflix or other channels, and it'll say, "Are you still watching? Do you still want?" Yes, just play. Okay, don't ask me. Just let it play. Just continuous. I have it on. Leave it. Let it go. Anyway, I need to work on that a little bit and get it so that it's continuous and not. Oops, it stopped. Oops, it stopped. So, So, let's see. Blaster Yoda John 11:9. Jesus answered, "Are there not 12 hours in a day? If anyone walks in the day, he does not stumble because he sees the light of this world." That's pretty cool. Ugh, I was always spring forward. Yes. Yes, but the difference meant we got exactly. Yeah, so Patrick was able to raid. Good to see you, Patrick. I was lurking mostly when you came in, trying to get myself ready as well. So Monday through Friday, those friends that are new, I'm reading in the Bible. So let me just go over. Yeah, that's the one I want. Go over what we're doing.
Blaster_Yoda just followed.
Hey, thanks for the follow. Okay, so this is our nice little chart here of what we're doing. So call it Messiah Monday because we're going to be reading about Jesus on Monday. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, for the most part. Torah Tuesdays, reading in the first 5 books of the Bible. That's called the Torah. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Wisdom Wednesday, you can go over in the Discord. You can put a post in there of a Psalm, a Proverb, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, something that you would like us to look at on Wednesdays. Transform Thursday, things about how do we live out our faith, how do we get better. And if you're not Christian, and you're still welcome here. You're still welcome here to have a nice conversation. We're not forcing anything down anyone's throat. We're having a discussion. We are investigating. We are exploring. Friday favorites, I pick a book. Let you guys vote on one of my favorite books. And right now we're reading in James. So that's where we are. So anyway, that's what we're doing. And then I just started with Reach Conference, a 90-day challenge where we're working out every day of the week. My shoulder is hurting me from, I think it was Friday's stretching. I stretched my shoulder a little bit too hard, and now it's a bit sore. It is a bit sore. So stretching can cause injuries. So, but that is at 10 o'clock every day. Or I shouldn't say every day. That's what the plan was. And then they decided, no, we don't want to do 10 o'clock. This is Eastern Standard Time on Sundays because some of us are going to be in church, headed to church. So they switched it to 9 o'clock at night, which, like, I'm getting ready for bed. Okay, I don't want to work out when I'm getting ready for bed, but that's what it is. All right, so let me put up here. We're reading in Matthew today. Yeah, not stretching is usually bad. Yeah, bad, yes. Well, no, this was actually, we just did stretching. That's all we did. So, anyway, we'll read the Bible for a couple hours, and then we will be, I'll do working out for the half hour or so that is, and then we'll raid over, and we will lurk on my fish channel and co-work over there. So, that's the plan for today. This week, did I not update that? I need to update that. Let me do this. That is last week's. Here we go. All right. So tomorrow from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern, we'll be doing the podcast over on the Church Digital. That will be Lesty for Short and Geek Devotions. And then Thursday from 1 to 4 p.m., Christian Ninja of Taco will be on the podcast. So yes, I'm over here. I'm over there. I got a third channel. Why be in one place when you can be in three? Blaster Yoda. Acts 13:47. For so the Lord has commanded us, I have placed you as a light to the Gentiles, that you may bring salvation to the end of the earth. Absolutely. And at 10:02, by the way, we are praying for workers for the harvest. So you can join us for that if you would like to. Like I said, you don't have to be a Christian to be here. Agnostic, atheist, Muslim, Sikh. I'm just trying to think of the people that regularly hang out in our community. They are, and you are all welcome here. Supersonic Glenn Beck video in regards to what? Flat cap over here, multiversing. Okay. Not sure, Onesimus, what that's about. The teaching of Jesus Christ. Yes. Missed 2 messages. Yeah, that's what it looked like. But I didn't see them show. Oh, you tried to condense, was too long. Oh, okay. There we go. For the USA, however, during World War II, FDR re-added DST and kept silent. Oh, he re-added daylight savings time and kept silent, even though many countries are opting out as time goes on. Oh, there we go. Wait, I missed that. It scrolled past. Origin of daylight savings time is Ben Franklin, 1784 in Paris, wrote on how lazy the French were. A seed was planted over 100 years later. George Hudson wanted to put changes to the clock for his butterfly insect collection, not 1 hour, but 20 minutes. Claimed that people being lazy minus 20 minutes parliament didn't listen to him, and in 1916, during World War I, coal armaments were important for night hours. Okay, yes. Okay, yes, I did miss. So you were just citing your source was from a video that Glenn... Okay, thank you. Yep, I missed that. Must have slipped past when I was doing the scroll, which, no surprise, that kind of stuff happens. All right, glad to have all of you in here today. By the way, questions are always welcome. Lurks are fantastic. Appreciate all of you who come in with the lurks. All of you who ask questions, all of you who engage in whatever capacity. Thank you. And thank you, Ukulele, for bringing your community over here. Yeah, I'm just going to say, I've got some things to connect and follow up with on Taco, Ukulele. I don't know if it was you. I'm going to guess it might have been Samus who was talking to Jeff about having Taco be one of the breakouts for the digital missionary conference. So if you don't know anything about it, then I'm guessing it was Samus who was going to talk with you and Ninja about it, because if Taco would like to have a breakout session, and I can talk to Ninja later if you don't know anything about it. That's what my plan was. So anyway, so those are going, what are you talking about? Let me play just a little video here, a promo video. And then
I run into people that ask this all the time of what can you do with real ministry in digital spaces? And I spend a lot of time with people who are feeling called by God to reach people who are in a dark place, reach people who are far away from God. So we at the Church Digital, we have a digital conference for being a digital missionary. Yes, a digital conference for being a digital missionary. So if you're already in digital spaces and trying to figure out, how do I do this effectively? How do I think through good questions to make sure I'm being effective in what I'm doing? Sign up for the conference. If you have a pastor that doesn't understand, if you have church leaders that just don't understand, and if you are a youth leader, if you are a church leader and you're wondering, why doesn't other people feel and see the same thing I am? Come and hang out with those of us who do see and feel the same thing that you do. Encourage other people, encourage your pastor, encourage the tech crew in your church to come. It is missionary.digital. Sign up. You won't be disappointed.
All right. So just promoing that. I got lots of things to promo. So if you are interested at all, oops, it scrolled. Interesting. Let me just update it because updates are happening all the time. I'm not going to go through a lot of details, but it is April 2nd at, well, let me just scroll. Is it 10 a.m.? It's 11 a.m. EST. I was thinking that might end up being changed, actually. But anyway, this conference is free because we have sponsors who are making it available for free. So there's two places you can watch it: on your phone or on your mobile device, or you can go into Spatial and explore the conference in the VR. And there are some things that are going to be maybe changing where we're finding our limitations in Spatial and on other places in VR are not conducive for a large crowd. So anyway, stay tuned on that. You can sign up. Registration is free. You'll get keynotes. You'll get breakout sessions. You will not get the breakout sessions if you do not attend. However, if you can't make it and you're like, I'm at the other side of the world or I'm at work, no worries, friends. You'll be able to get VODs of the keynote speakers later on. Also, please sign up even if you don't know if you can make it. If you know you can make it, here's some. I'm just going to scroll through. You can come check this out later. We went through it a lot on Saturday with the Blessing Boat. But these are a bunch of people that I know doing digital ministry in digital spaces and people I do not know. So it's free. We're hoping to have 1,000 people sign up. And we want to be able to prove to our sponsors that this is a viable thing that people are thinking about, that people are looking for. So please, please, please sign up and join us for this great opportunity to learn and grow. Learn from people who are doing it. Grow in your vision. Grow in what you are already doing. So there we go. That seems like a good place to just kind of go there. So, okay, where are we then with our daily reading? So today we are going to be in Matthew. We're in Matthew. So we're in Matthew in chapter 9 is where we would be. Or I should say where we are. So we left off at Matthew 9:26. Let's go find that. This here is the Net Bible, the New English Translation. You may have not heard about it. It was intentionally created to be a digital Bible. Back when, 25 years ago, when publishing companies had rights to Bibles and are like, no, we're not putting that on the internet. Then people can just have it. We need them to print it out, or we need to print it and sell it to them. So they did their own new translation, which has all these fantastic notes. Blaster, Matthew 6:12. I don't know why I did not. Oh, you didn't. Yeah, you didn't spell Matthew correctly. And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. That's such an important thing. No matter which way you have that translated, our debts, our trespasses, our sins, the how we do for others is what we need to keep in mind. Absolutely. Okay, so we were 26. Oop, let me make that larger, a little bit easier to read. There we go. Come on. Now, some people get a little confused. So, like right here, you see a 41. Right next to it is 17. The 41 is the footnotes. And those are a different color. And then the others are the numbers of the chapter verses, which none of these are in the original copies. These are added centuries later. Okay, so where were we at? So what we just had was the healing of the girl, the 12-year-old girl, and the woman who had a hemorrhage and was bleeding for 12 years. which I've spent lots of time reflecting on the juxtaposition of those two things, of the girl who is 12 years old and probably or maybe has not yet reached the age of maturity to be able to menstruate, and the woman who has been bleeding for 12 years, not able to go into the temple. Very interesting overlap there. Les Amy, good middle of the night to you, brother. Hope all is well. Good to see you, Les Amy. Good to see you. I hope you are doing well. Hope things are going well for you, friend. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, you know what? I mentioned that I have another channel with fish. Let me show you that real quick before we dive into today. I should have showed you all of that who are coming in.
Streamers, content creators.
There are my cameras. There are my cameras. So we got sunrise, sunset over Lake Superior up in the upper left, which right now is kind of overcast and not much to see. And then we got koi on the right side and the top and the bottom. And I got a new pot that I was hoping the fish would maybe be interested in, like, you know, hiding inside of that pot. It doesn't look like they've figured that out yet. And then we got guppies in the lower left there. So there are the fish cams, and you can go watch those on a whole nother channel if you'd like, and we will go there later today. Okay, so continuing in the book of Matthew, daylight savings is a blessing here, as heaps of people are online an hour earlier. Maybe not too much to the American people. Yes. Well, don't you switch in like a week or two again? Like you do at a different time than we do, and then we'll be an hour closer again? Or am I misremembering there? Or maybe Australia does and New Zealand doesn't. I don't know. As Jesus went on from there, 2 blind men began to follow him, shouting. Okay, so if you're not familiar with this story, and you're like, well, and I think one of the other Gospels doesn't tell it as there are 2 men. It tells it differently. You're probably right. You put the clocks back April 6th. Yes. Okay. So you've got, wow, like 4 weeks later. That's what I was thinking. It was something like the U.S. does the change, and then like 2 weeks later, Europe does, and then 2 weeks later, down under. So yeah, like if you are like working globally right now, this is like got to be most horrible time for scheduling events. You plan something out, and then the time change happens, and the time change happens again. Like, how do you accommodate for the time change when your calendar? I don't know. Yeah, the countries are so disorganized. Well, we just need to stop it, honestly. We need to because just like it messes up globally, all kinds of things that were never planned or coordinated. But anyway, we won't be fixing that today. So, as I was saying, there are 2 blind men in the story. Matthew does this repeatedly. Matthew uses this. Yeah, God save us from ourselves. Matthew does this repeatedly. When there are 2 people in the story, this is a rabbinic way, a rabbi's way, a teacher's way of inviting you to be the second person in the story. So, when there are the 2 blind men, you put yourself in the story as one of them. When there is the 2 donkeys, the mother and the colt, you put yourself riding on the other one. So whenever you see there are 2 of something, it's a rabbinic way to invite you to participate in the story by being the second person in the story. Now, maybe you've never heard that. Maybe you've never seen that. But that's what Matthew is doing here. So he's not concerned with the number of actual people as he is with inviting you into the story. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. Blaster. You've had voice conference at 2 a.m. because it's 9 a.m. in Europe. That's just a reality of life and work. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good news. He already has. God has already saved us from ourselves. Very nice. Lou says, there is someone who benefits from it. Otherwise, it would have been changed a long time ago. Well, on some level, there is difficulty in changing some things because you have to get people to agree on it. And some people are just opposed to change. So, Galaxy, thank you for the lurk. So we're invited to be one of the two people, and they begin to follow. Matthew, we've been noticing this word, follow, 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 follow. The following verse makes it clear an aggressive is meant for the blind men are still following. So began following and continued to follow him. Cat Jam, Supersonic, welcome. Thought you were here, but Cat Jam anyway. So they are shouting, Greek shouting, saying the participle legantes is redundant in contemporary. So, yes, shouting, saying. Oh, yeah. So they leave out words sometimes because it's redundant in English and unnecessary. Other languages use them to state and emphasize things. So they're choosing to not include it. It doesn't change the meaning. Have mercy on us, son of David. So this is very interesting. What they are shouting. There was a tradition in Judaism that the son of David, Solomon, had great power of healing. Josephus tells us about that. By extension, this would apply to the ultimate royal descendant, Davidic descendant, the Messiah, as well. At this point in the narration, Matthew picks up again the theme of Jesus as Davidic descendant, which had appeared in chapters 1 through 2. So, we have Jesus as being of the son of David, and we haven't had mention of it again, and now that theme is coming back. Nico! You know, I'm quite the son of David myself. Welcome in, friend. When he went into the house, the blind men came to him. Jesus said to them, do you believe that I am able to do this? So they are shouting what they want, and he asks, do you believe I can? Which is fascinating because often we have someone has something in their life, and Jesus asks, what is it you want? Here, they are shouting to have mercy on us. Have mercy on us. And I'm just looking at something, noticing. Oh, sorry, I'm just moving stuff around in my layers there so that things are in front of others. Anyway, so they are shouting, have mercy on us. And Jesus is going to ask them a question anyway. Do you believe I'm able to do this? Do you believe I'm able to do this? They said to him, yes, Lord. Then he touched their eyes and said, let it be done for you according to your faith. What interesting. So according to your faith, how much do you believe I can do this? That's what I'm going to have this happen. And their eyes were opened. Then Jesus sternly warned them, see that no one knows about this. This is what's called often the Davidic or the divine secret. Like, do not tell anyone. Okay, this is not possible. Okay, you got two blind guys who can see. How are you going to not tell anyone? How are you going to... It's going to get known. Okay. See that no one knows about this. But they went out and spread the news about him throughout the entire region. So he says, don't tell, and they do tell. Now, Matthew doesn't do this all the way through, but Mark does repeatedly. This divine secret, don't tell anyone, don't tell anyone, don't tell anyone, don't tell anyone. And everyone finds out anyway. And we get to the end of Mark, and it is, go tell, and they don't. It's a reversal there at the end of Mark. Matthew doesn't quite follow that all the way through, but he is telling the story, too, of the news is spreading. It is going out. It cannot be contained. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. Nico, hey, Flat Cap. Sorry, you just can't refuse myself. How are you guys? Thanks for having me in as always, and good seeing you both. You and the Lucis. God bless both of you and everyone else in here. Thank you, Nico. Oh, no worries, friend. No worries at all. Appreciate you coming in. Appreciate the conversation as always. Anything in the footnote? Just grammatical words, unnecessary, untranslated. Okay, their eyes are open. I'm wondering, do we have a repetition of eyes being opened, or do we have the phrase, and it's been a while, we were in it, but out of Matthew for a week, he who has ears to hear, let him hear. He has that, but that's not a he who has eyes to see. So, but I think a similar connotation. Their eyes are opened. So something is revealed when your eyes are open. Everything is now revealed to them, but they already knew who Jesus was. But in his act, he's revealing to others who he is. Hey, Papsio, good to see you, friend. As they were going away, a man who was demon-possessed and unable to speak was brought to him. After the demon was cast out, the man who had been mute began to speak. The aorist verb has been translated here as ingressive, stressing the beginning of the action. Okay. So the Gospels at times are from one event to the next event to the next event. You know, like one happens immediately, the next one happens. One happens immediately, the next one happens. We don't have to fully see them that way, but the narration is that way to keep the action happening. Like there is no relief from Jesus for the needs of people that are all around. Nico, oh, I love the parable about he mute being able to speak. It's one you remember well from when you had Bible readings as a kid. Oh, really? Okay. So, demon-possessed and unable to speak. What do we have? Anything there? A mute, demon-possessed. Some translations infer a causal relationship. Was mute because of the demon possession. The present translation allows for this interpretation. Was demon-possessed and thus unable to speak without making it explicit. Yes. So, both are true. Is one a cause? Perhaps. Perhaps. After the demon was cast out, the man who was mute began to speak. The crowds were amazed and said, "Never has anything like this been seen in Israel." But the Pharisees said, "By the ruler of the demons he cast out demons." So, oh, by the prince. Yeah, by the ruler. Yeah. Prince is often used in the Old Testament, equivalent with a ruler, equivalent with the king. You have the 12 princes. We would use king only. We wouldn't think of princes as being rulers. They would use king and prince interchangeably because the prince is going to become a king, and you can just refer to them all as princes. Not princesses, but princes. So, so there is this level of, if we go back to the Old Testament, are there anyone who is healed from blindness? Is there anyone healed or mute? We're having different healings that are going on. What are the healings? But specifically casting out demons. However, some of the Psalms, I believe, are supposed to be exorcism Psalms. Maybe you're not familiar with that. Let me just go look up and see if I can find a reference there. Psalms for exorcism. For exorcism Psalms in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So Psalm 91, Psalm 35, Psalm 109. So there are, Psalm 67 as well. So I think those are the 4 exorcism Psalms. Maybe you're not familiar with that. So when the other guys are claiming Davidic line, you are son of David and able to heal. Now we have exorcism. And so these are both different things. That's what I wanted to point out. These are both different things pointing back to being connected with David. Being connected with David. Nico, yeah, you think perhaps due to the nature of Christianity here in Scandinavia, parables about miracle works of Jesus and ailing the poor and weak and suffering are always really popular even among atheists, etc., and look fondly upon. But yeah, very well known parable around here. Yeah, you didn't know about the exorcism psalms? Yes. So I'm just trying to think of if there are any casting out of demons in the Old Testament. In the text. I'm trying to remember. Let's see. Are there any exorcisms in the Old Testament, or is that all extra biblical? Was casting out of demons done in the Old Testament? There's no explicit reference to exorcism in the Old Testament. Okay. That's what I was thinking. I didn't remember anyone casting out demons in the Old Testament. That's why when they are here, even though they are aware of, they would be aware of the 4 Psalms of exorcism, very likely, and then, you know, the Dead Sea Scrolls, I think, may have a couple others that are exorcism psalms, or that's how we know they're exorcism psalms is because of their collection together in the Dead Sea Scrolls. I can't remember that specifically. But here Jesus is doing the thing that no one in the Old Testament is said or listed to have done. So, therein lies his power. Nico, now I wonder if we have exorcism in your faith, but you doubt it, but it makes me curious and makes you wonder. Yeah, that is an interesting to wonder. So, we've got Davidic connections here is the point of what's going on. Blaster, John 8:2. Then Jesus spoke to them, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Yes. Yeah, nope, no exorcisms among your faith. Apparently against your Rahat code of conduct for Sikhs. Oh, interesting. Interesting. And I'm just trying to think through if someone is demon possessed, who are you? Yeah, I guess it has to do with whether you're thinking it is voluntary, involuntary possession, and whether you are harming a person or harming the demon or the spirit. Yeah, interesting. I don't know. Never really thought about that. Supersonic. Wouldn't there be casting out in the Old Testament? Does that mean there were no possessions in the Old Testament times? I'd highly think there were people possessed. What do you mean instead of in the Old Testament? So what I'm saying is we don't have any narration of a story where Elijah, Elisha, a prophet, cast out demons. That's what I'm saying. We don't have any stories that tell us that it was happening. We do have certain things that do happen along the way. We don't really have, I don't know if there's any stories of demon possession in the Old Testament, but we do have exorcism psalms. So we can infer that they knew of demon possession and that they had means to combat it. But what I'm saying is there's not a story of Elijah, a story of Elisha, a story of Isaiah, Jeremiah going around and casting out demons. We don't have that in the Old Testament. That's all.
Fox and Jellyfin just followed.
Hey, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Only thing you can think of is King Saul in Samuel 16. WWYD, what would Yahweh do instead of casting out? Is that what you're doing? Oh, instead of Old Testament. But there are stories of rabbis having done so according to Tanakh, as far as you're aware. That's part of the Old Testament. I don't think there's anything specific that's mentioned that I know of any stories. So there would be, things written outside the Bible. I'm just talking within the Bible. But it's a distressing spirit going away from his music playing. Oh, well, I see what you're saying, Onesimus. I was thinking Saul and the witch at Endor, but you're talking about the spirit that comes upon Saul that is soothed by music, which I think is the reason why the Davidic line is connected to exorcism. But the evil spirit that torments him is not fully exorcised. Like David doesn't cast out the demon, he only soothes the demon. So it just calms him down, I guess. So it's not an exorcism per se. That's a great, hey, I don't know. That's very interesting regardless. Very interesting. Got to run to school, Papsio. Thank you, friend. You take it out as casting. Well, the thing, I don't think it's casting out because it returns. So I don't know if it's a full possession, if it's torment. And we could be semantics here, and we're talking about the same thing. And it's just how do we see it. Albeit technically not Christian, you do believe casting out exorcisms were done in the Old Testament. You should clarify also by Tanakh. It is part of the Old Testament, but Jewish scripture, not Christian scripture. Thank you. Yes. But yeah, so it could be in the Tanakh and not in... And what the Tanakh is also, I believe, if I remember, not written in Hebrew, but written in Greek. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But yeah, you could say Judaism is a pre-form of Christianity, seeing as Jesus was a fulfillment of the Old Testament. Yeah, supersonic. Though not specifically stated the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and Jonah. I don't know that those are casting out of demons. Those are people turning to God. So they're turning from worshiping false gods, which would be lesser gods, Elohim, spiritual beings, which usually, yeah, it depends on how you see the whole spiritual realm. So, yeah, this is a great conversation, by the way. Yeah, it depends on argumentation, you guess, and perspective. Yes, Nineveh. Yep, I knew what you meant. The coming against the city, casting out the torment, following evil ways. Yeah, and I guess it's all a matter of how are we saying possession? Nico, isn't that more divine judgment being met by God, not that's what I'm thinking too. It's a judgment against those cities and for their worship of someone other than God, not necessarily possession. Not that possessions couldn't be a part of it. The Tanakh is written in Hebrew. Okay, thank you, Nico. Oh, well, Bob, welcome in. Okay. So anyway, they are going to make a accusation that he is casting out demons because he's casting them out by the power of the ruler of the demons. Now, Matthew doesn't elaborate on this at all. He doesn't spend any time going into this, explaining it, refuting the accusation. Other gospel writers do, where Jesus points out that if the ruler of the demons is casting out demons, then you're against each other. You know, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Boxing. Oh, say, yeah, boxing elephant. This is fascinating. You're here just listening. Thank you, friend. I appreciate you just listening and hanging out. Lurkers are always welcome. Questions as well. And I'm not here to correct anybody. I'm here to have the conversation and engage, and I think we learn. And then, yeah, we're pointing out, well, maybe we're saying the same thing, but we're viewing it slightly different, all of that. So, Hobo Bob, lots of friends today, absolutely. So, anyway, Jesus in one of the other Gospels points out, if you are doing this of yourself, you are against yourself. So, but they can't. Here's I think the thing, they don't want to recognize Jesus as a Davidic descendant who has power to do these things. So they're trying to attribute him to some other causality other than being of the Davidic line, with being a Messiah, with having the power to do these things. So again, I think we can go back to Matthew 5 when we're supposed to be salt and light, and you're supposed to make followers, people following, and now Jesus is out doing that. He is bringing salt and light to dark places. And some of those are healings from physical things. Some of those are healings from spiritual things, and he continues to go forth. Then Jesus went throughout all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the good news of the kingdom, and healing every kind of disease and sickness. Okay, so all the towns, cities, all the synagogues, and healing every kind of disease, every kind of sickness, every was not repeated in the translation for stylistic reasons, although the present translation, there are several that do this. Big footnote. Okay, every disease and every sickness referring to Jesus as healing ministry to refer to the ministry of the disciples. Okay. Nico, yeah, the Tanakh is 24 books in total, consisting of 3 parts: Torah, Genesis, the Nevi'im, the prophets, and the Ketuvim, the writings. Yeah, but there aren't any. That's the same as we have for the Old Testament. That's the same as we have for the Old Testament. Would be the Torah, the prophets, and the writings. And I don't know of any exorcisms in those books. I was thinking of the what is the Apocrypha and the Pseudepigrapha, and I thought there was one other group, so that's what I was thinking there. But I think our example of David playing the harp and soothing is our closest. Like if it's coming and going, and it is like it's trying to possess him in some way, and David is holding off the possession by the singing of those psalms, and maybe those are the psalms that he is actually singing. Are those 4 psalms that are used for exorcisms? I don't know. It's fascinating. It doesn't tell us. Doesn't tell us. At least in Samuel, it doesn't. Okay, so he's going through all the towns and villages, teaching in the synagogues, preaching the good news of the kingdom, and healing every kind of disease. Yeah, Onesimus, that was your best guess? Yeah, I like that. You just vaguely remembering. Yeah, the Ketuvim could. It could. If Altus Rebbe comes in, we can ask Altus Rebbe. He is much more knowledgeable on things that are Jewish in nature than I am. I'm always learning new things. That'd be something to actually sing those psalms. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add those psalms to our list at some point, and we're going to look at them. So I'll add those to our list. It's where Kabbalah has the idea of exorcism, too, if you're right. Again, yeah, I think you're right. Hey, Altus Rebbe! Hey, we were just talking about exorcisms in the Old Testament, because we had a reference after Jesus cast out a demon that nobody has ever seen anything, nothing like this has never happened. And so we were just looking at trying to explore are there exorcisms in Scripture in the Old Testament? The closest we came up with, and it doesn't call it an exorcism, doesn't mean it's not, but when Saul is tormented and David plays the harp. Do you know of any other specific exorcism we could look at in the Old Testament, or where does that all fit? Speak of the rabbi. Okay, and go ahead and type that if you got something. We're going to keep going here. So he's going, he's teaching, he's preaching the good news of the kingdom. That's what he's preaching. The good news of the kingdom, the gospel of the kingdom, healing every kind of disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were bewildered and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. What do we have here? Bewildered and helpless, because they had been bewildered and helpless. The grammatical issue is whether the perfect participle is to be rendered as predictive adjective or pluperfect paraphrastic construction. Oh my goodness. This is, anyway. Has it already happened, and this is the condition that they are left in? Yeah, I think that's what I would see. This is what's happened. Because of the leadership, they have become part of a state. They are in a state of helpless and bewildered. They have no shepherd to lead them to know what they should do. They have people who are vying for power, telling them what they want to know, what they want to do, and the like there. Which is interesting that this is on the heels of an exorcism. So on the heels of an exorcism where he is being accused of being in league with the devil, it's pointing out that the people have no one leading, no one caring for, no one shepherding them. Blaster. And these signs will accompany those who believe in your name. They will cast out demons. They will speak with new tongues. Yeah. Altus, you don't know off of the top of your head. Most instances are a Ruach Ra'ah rather than Iber or a Daibak. Okay. And everyone knows those words, Altus. I'm sure they understood that completely. The Daibak is going to be more of the demon idea? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think Samuel is going to be the place where we have it. I'm trying to think if there's any other instances with other kings. Yeah, we get worship of other spiritual beings, but I don't know if we really fully, it's fleshed out if there's possession of them that I can remember. Nico, like it says in your tradition, exorcism is part of what's seen as superstition, which is rejected. Any superstitions alongside the idea of pilgrimage, holy outward acts of penance, such as circumventing the Kaaba, or is it concepts like the devil and angels, etc. However, it does slightly remind me of a prayer from your scripture. Okay, so I see where that is lined up. Cool. Thank you for sharing that. Humans worship stone, make pilgrimages, dwell in forests for spiritual gain. Wandering and faltering, they become renunciates, holy men and women. How can a contaminated mind become pure? By acquiring truth, one obtains integrity. Oh, by acquiring truth, one obtains integrity. Ooh, that's interesting. Boy, I could wrestle with that for a while. Yeah, so the prayer does kind of remind. Yeah, I see that in terms of speaking about contaminated or impure mind and state akin to probably demonic possession, similar concepts. Maybe, yeah. But it also has a tendency towards ritual, and the ritual itself, which might be in connection with a spiritual being, granting you such things, would match in there. And those that don't know, our buddy Nico here in the chat is a Sikh. So he is often sharing things from what he knows and is able to add to our conversation that way. All right. So they are like a shepherd or sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Therefore, ask the Lord of the harvest to send out workers into his harvest-ready fields. So we just have a demonstration of how plentiful the harvests are, because everywhere Jesus goes, there is something to do, someone that is in need. The good news of the kingdom is going out, and people are encountering it, and there's not enough workers. So this is also Luke 10:2, which is our prayer initiative for the year, and we're hoping to get people praying at 10:02 in their time zone, wherever you are globally. And you can go over here. I'm just going to, got like 2 minutes before we go to ad break, and I'm just going to let that come in because that's a good time. So hashtag 10:02 digital prayer. If you want to add that, here's some wallpapers for that. But we're just praying for all of those in digital first world that we need more workers helping to be salt and light to other people who are lost. So whatever you're doing, if you are so inclined, to stop and pray for workers for the harvest. That's what we're doing together. All right. Yeah. Altus. The latest instance we have, though very rare, is a Hasidic master Kabbalist who exercise debucks by teaching the person Torah, immersing them, and having them recite daily prayers. Okay. Nico, our guru's answer is to acquire truth and obtain integrity through it. But yeah, that probably is the closest we have to delving into the question of demonic possession or mental illness or similar concepts, which reminds me in some ways of exorcism, cleansing, etc. Yes. Wade Mock, 1 King 22. The Lord said to him, "How?" And he said, "I will go out and be a deceiving spirit in the mouth of his prophets." Then he said, "You are to entice him and also prevail. Go and do so. Now, therefore, behold, the Lord put a deceiving spirit in the mouth of all his prophets, and the Lord proclaimed disaster against them." Okay. See, there again, and we'll have an ad coming in. Wade, is that a possession or is that not a possession? That, I think, is part of the thing that we have to wrestle with. But, yeah, that's a good verse there, a good section there of the deceiving mouth and the... So... Yeah, and then King David, why are you so cowardly and still have no faith? Morning, Johnny Darko. Okay, we got ads coming in, so let's go to fishes.
Streamers, content creators, gamers, and cosplayers. Last year, ReachConf was an absolute
and I'm not
blast.
promoting just one conference, I'm promoting two. So here's another one. The other one is digital and free.
Inspired,
this one is in person and
tournaments,
therefore
on-stage
costs some
shenanigans,
finances,
and
but not
fantastic
much.
music
You
kept
can
the
use my
energy
code for
high.
$10 off.
It was more than an event. It was a community coming together. Get ready for ReachConf 2025, happening November 6 to 8. All the best parts of gaming and creative culture will be there, live and in person. Last year, we hit capacity, and even with increased numbers this year, tickets are sure to sell fast. Don't miss your chance to be part of the ultimate IRL experience. Grab your tickets now and join the movement.
Come what may. With his cam he shows it all. Little fish both big and small. Life in ponds so serene. Nature's beauty on a screen. See the ripples, watch the flow. Hear the music, gentle glow. Flat caps charm and calming tone makes the fish feel right at home. Watch the fish, they swim along to the rhythm of his song. Flat Cat Pastor shows the way. Stream it live, come what may.
Yeah, Alta's explaining a diebuck, like a clinging spirit that hangs on, trying to hitch a ride to the grave. That makes sense in the realm of Saul, I would think, of it going and coming and clinging and being soothed. Yeah. Diebuck boxes are made up of make-up thing, LOL. But, yeah, there are a few movies about them. Okay. Yeah, it's the best reference you have for diebucks. Okay. So Jesus is out doing things, and then after doing a lot of things, he points out that there are more people needed to get the job done. More people are needed in order to get the job done. So what does he do after identifying there is a need to get the job done? He sends out the disciples. Well, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Jesus called his 12 disciples and gave them authority over unclean spirits, sorry. I read that wrong. So they could cast them out and heal every kind of disease and sickness. Yeah, unclean spirits refers to evil spirits, yes. The same statement about healing was made concerning Jesus. So Jesus has just gone and done all of these things, and now he turns around to the 12. Now in Luke, we have the 70 or the 72, depending upon your translation and what copy you have. And they both represent the same thing, the 70 or the 72 nations, depending on how you count it. And people go, well, what do you mean there could be a different number? Well, Trinidad and Tobago is one country, but it has "and" in the name. So are Tyre and Sidon one, or are Tyre and Sidon two? It's how do you count some of them? And we're not quite clear. So some will use the reference of 70, and some use the reference of 72. And that goes back to the Table of Nations in Genesis, and it goes back to the number of the tribes, or the descendants of Jacob, that go down into Egypt. And, yeah, so it's symbolic, and sometimes it's flipped between the two. But that's over in Luke. Here, we just have the 12 only. Bob, is this where some of the people get the idea that an illness is from a spiritual possession? Bob, yeah, that would be definitely where it's carried into now, is seeing all of these illnesses that have connections to evil spirits, and you cast out the spirit, and there's several of them that are mentioned throughout. So mute is a thing that is caused by the evil spirit. What looks like seizures, being thrown down and rolling into the fire, is one of the boys has things. So yeah, so the manifestation of physical ailments, ongoing limitations, are definitely seen as being caused by evil spirits or possessions. And I don't know always if there's a difference between possession and or torment by, and if we need to make a distinction. What I'm saying is, I know a lot of modern people can do that, but I'm saying when we're reading an ancient text, how did they understand it, and did they see a difference, is what I'm getting at. So Altus, yeah, Ibers are less talked about, but they can be righteous, and those are the ones with unfinished business. Some are good, some are evil, but that gets into spirits sharding and versions of reincarnation that goes down a rabbit hole, not for a Twitch chat, such as Elijah and John the Baptist. Yeah. Wade, you do not know if it is possession, but the concept of spiritual coming upon someone to influence them, the same with God coming upon someone rather than staying with them. Oh, Wade, absolutely, absolutely. Great connection there, because even when the Spirit of God in the Old Testament is not seen as a permanent thing, the Spirit of God would come upon you, and you would have the Spirit of God for a time to accomplish something. So in the same way, these demons, these evil spirits coming upon, are not seen to be the owners of the dwelling, but to come about. Yeah, so in that way, I'm just processing through. Then David could be chasing away, casting out, if you will, the spirit trying to make a dwelling place and trying to cling on to Saul. And that could be an exorcism of sorts, if you think about it that way, of the spirit is not something that can fully possess and fully reside, but can only hang on to. Ooh, wait, that's interesting. Aranga, welcome in. Edgewax, 1937 movie, The Debauch, on archive.org for free. Interesting. 1937 movie. I haven't heard of it, but that's not a surprise. Would people in the lake of fire be tormented and or possessed? Well, the lake of fire is created for the devil and his followers, not intended initially designed as a place for torment for humans, and they are to be there to be tormented and punished. So that's an interesting question. But I always assumed that the torment, the torture, was the lake of fire itself. But I don't know. Supersonic, that's an interesting question. Bob, this is an interesting concept. I wonder if those illnesses are a torture of the spirit or the body's natural reaction to the spirit being there. Ooh, that is an interesting concept. If the physical manifestation is the body fighting the spiritual level, or it's or it's some way reducing the body's physical in some other capacity. Interesting. King David, Leviticus 24:19. If a man injures his neighbor just as he has done, so it shall be done to him. Yes. Nico, you find John so incredibly fascinating, I must say. Huge parts due to the Mandaeans, I'm not sure. An interesting bunch of John seems like a really interesting, multifaceted character. Yes. Yeah. David, Matthew 5. Yeah, which we read in the last 2 weeks. You've heard it say an eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth, which really is a limitation. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth is not you have permission to retaliate. It is you may not go any further. You may not go past this. You can't up it. This was done to you. You may not go past what was done to you. You are not going to escalate it. That's what an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth is to stop escalation. Nico, you also really find it interesting that baptism plays a part in your faith as well and across my faith tradition, albeit with different interpretations and meanings behind it. Yeah, the whole topic is a fascinating rabbit hole, yes. There's the part you want. But I say to you, do not resist an evil person, but whoever slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him also the other also. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your tunic and garment, and whoever forces you to go a mile, go with them too. Yeah, but this is an evil person. That's not evil possession, David. And we went over that. You can go back and watch the VODs. We dove into that pretty deep. Altus, during the Second Temple period, this might be relevant, a possessing spirit could also be like a personal demon, like many mental problems and trauma issues would be similar to how we use the term personal demon. It does imply a separate spiritual entity. Sorry, the personal demon just got me to thinking of your own personal demon, someone to torture you, someone don't care. I don't know. Anyway, think of a spirit as being desires. So Second Temple period, the person who is possessed can be like saying evil desires took hold of me. The source of the evil desire is where you end up when differentiating between Ibar, Debak, etc. Nico, the Mandaeans are believers of ancient religious Gnostic creed. Okay. They are the original inhabitants of Mesopotamia. Iraq has remained their fundamental homeland since ancient times. They believe John the Baptist to be the most important prophet and father of their religion, a unique bunch also found in Israel and other places. Thank you. I did not know of that. I know of Gnostics, but I did not know of that group specifically. There's also around 20K of them in Sweden, for example. Yeah, Depeche Mode unlocked. I like how you put that. That's hilarious. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law and the prophets. I did not come to abolish, but to fulfill. The song, Actually Your Own Personal Jesus, yes. Which is even worse. Well, It depends on how you interpret it to mean your own personal Jesus. The same way there's the song, Let Me Tell You About My Jesus. Like, how are you interpreting it? How are you understanding it? Yeah. Am I in control of him because he's my Jesus, or he's personal Jesus, or are we trying to stress the relationship? It just really depends on how you interpret those. Altus, wish I could stay. Demonology is fascinating to discuss, but you have to work. Meeting. Take care, all. Thank you for coming in and helping a little bit with our discussion. It just kind of went off when it was the possession in the text there, and talking about unclean spirits and going, I wonder how there's interconnectedness here. King David, just gonna trust Jesus, even though I think you just kind of brush off the Levitical law that was given to Moses, you think? Okay, I'm not sure which Levitical law you're thinking of that is being brushed off, but I'm missing it. I don't think we looked at any of that right now. Aranga, meaning is everywhere, and you get to choose it because God loves you. Oh, yeah, there's meaning all around and a lot of stuff. Okay, so he's chosen 12. He's given them all of the power to do the things that we've just witnessed. We've had this whole following Jesus, call to follow Jesus, people choosing to follow Jesus, being salt and light, Jesus demonstrating power and authority, the power and authority of being the Son of David, and now he has given that over to his disciples to go and do likewise, and he sends them out to do that, and now it's going to tell us who those are. Now these are the names of the 12 apostles. First, Simon called Peter, and Andrew his brother, James son of Zebedee, and John his brother, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the tax collector, James the son of Alphaeus and Thaddeus, Simon the zealot, and Judas Iscariot, who would betray him. So interesting. The first we get an introduction to the disciples is when they're sent out to cast out demons, evil spirits. And then we have Judas, who is going to end up being betrayed, and he's going to be sorted and sifted by Satan. How do we understand? Is he possessed, not possessed, in league with? We have a whole bunch, another rabbit hole we could go there. Oh, in the introduction of Judas. But it doesn't say anything about an evil spirit or demon at this point yet. Just an introduction. Okay. Nico. They are also called Sabaeans. Oh, okay. You might have heard of them. Their faith is called Sabianism. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. Not to delve more into it, but yeah, they are big on baptismal rites, baptisment, and in general, water and cleansing hold a huge meaning in their faith. They, of course, share similarities with many Abrahamic faiths: Jews, Christians, Muslims, Samaritans, etc. David, if a man injures his neighbor just as he has done, so it shall be done to him. Fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Just as you injure man, so it shall be done to you. Oh, okay, so that was the part you were talking about, the quoting an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Yeah, I didn't mean to skip over it. I mentioned it, but the part of why that is there is to limit retaliation and escalation. So, did you want to say more about that? Yeah, the Sabians. Yeah, and I'm not sure on spelling, so. Or Sabaeans. Even pronunciation there. Depends on if the B is doubled or not, I guess. Okay, so here are the 12. Jesus sent these 12, instructing them as follows. So it tells us he's going to give them out to do what he has been doing. Now he's going to send them out. Do not go on the road that leads to Gentile regions, and do not enter any Samaritan town. Go instead to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So they are like sheep without a shepherd. So now he's going to send out shepherds to shepherd them. to bring them back into the fold who are lost. He's going to send them out. He's got 12 he's sending out to do the work. As you go, preach this message. The kingdom of heaven is near. That's it. That is what the message is. The kingdom of heaven is near. The kingdom of heaven has come near to you, would be another way to say it. The kingdom of heaven is drawing into this space. So the kingdom of heaven has just been demonstrated to have power over every realm in the world. Every realm in the world is under and cannot stand against the power of the kingdom of heaven. And the kingdom of heaven has or is near. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse lepers, cast out demons. Major Byzantine minuscules, and that's how they're written, along with a few other witnesses, lack raise the dead, most likely because of oversight due to a string of similar endings. Second person imperatives occurs 5 times. The longer version of the verse is found in several diverse and ancient witnesses, Aleph, B, and C. But nevertheless, including that, although some Byzantine text proponents charge the Alexandrian witness with technically motivated alterations towards heterodoxy, it is interesting to find variants such as this. Wow, this is a long, long thing saying some have raised the dead, some do not. Okay, so just think of the realms of this. Healing the sick, okay, that would just be, I would say, a regular physical condition. Raising the dead, that's power over the grave. The realm of the death, cleansing lepers. This is an ongoing unclean state that is contagious and can spread, and casting out demons, a 4th realm. So there are 4 different realms altogether that they now have power over. They have power over these 4 realms to be able to go do it. They watched Jesus do it. Now they are given out with authority over those 4 realms. Freely you receive, freely give. So I am giving you the authority over, and you are to freely give this out. Do not take gold, silver, or copper in your belts. No bag for your journey, or extra tunic, or sandals, or staff, for the worker deserves his provisions. Okay. So this seems, I'm going to spend time on this a second. Freely you received, freely give. Okay? So you've received this freely, you are to freely give what you have received. Also, take nothing. Why? Because worker deserves his provision. So as you're going, people will provide for you. But doesn't that sound like you are getting it in exchange for the thing that you are giving? No. No, because the things you are giving cannot be purchased. You cannot purchase. There is no, think about this. What most people would say, whatever you're dealing with, is there a price too high to pay for being healed from a disease that is let's just say blindness, or being paralyzed? Is there a price too high that you wouldn't pay it? Probably not. It would just be your capacity to ever actually pay it. Raising the dead. How many people wouldn't be willing to pay any cost to raise someone from the dead, that new loved one that they dearly love that's lost? Or cleansing of a leper who's outside of society, who can't come into, or casting out demons from someone. You couldn't pay the cost, because these are things beyond the capacity to be able to have power over, and you have power over it. So you go do this, and you do it freely. But you're also a worker for the kingdom, and you're going to be paid. You're going to be paid as a worker. You're not going to be paid for the thing you are giving, which you're giving freely. Okay? What you're giving freely can't be bought. It can't be repaid. But as a worker who is going and bringing the good news of the kingdom, that you don't need to provide for yourself. You'll be taken care of. How are we to operate? Whenever you enter a town or village, find out who is worthy there and stay with them until you leave. Okay. Okay. Often, this is a reference to what we would call a person of peace. A person of peace. Someone who sees and knows and understands that you are bringing the good news, and they give you a place to stay, and they're the ones introducing you to other people in the community. So we talk about that in lots of places. Find a person of peace, one who wants to be with you, hang out with you. So if you're a streamer, some of these people of peace are going to be your mods. That's what we would say. Like, this is the person who's going to bring in people, the person going to introduce you to other people, the person that's going to promote you to other people. So don't go throwing away your mod for a better mod later on. Like, no. The person invited you, or another way, like if you're in a group like Taco, and then a better offer comes along later, to be part. I don't know what's better. I'm just, like, oh wow, they've got prestige, and oh wow, they're on TikTok and they got reels and they got 1 million followers. Well, don't leave Taco to go to them. Taco's the one that connected with you, saw in you, invested in you. So don't leave Taco to go somewhere else. Yeah, someone throwing me away. Exactly. Onesimus, never. May it never be. Stay with them until you leave. So, perhaps I'm on Twitch for a while, and I go to a new platform because God's calling me there. I know some people left to go to Kick. I don't know how successful it was. Some of them came back. Some of them just added it, and some of them seem to have left, and I have not seen them return. So if you go to a new place, you'll need new mods in a new place. Maybe you could bring some with, maybe not. I've never thought about applying this to platforms as places of going from place to place. I really like that thought. As you enter the house, greet those within it. What's the footnote there? Give it greetings. The expression give it greeting is a metonymy. Metonymy? I'm not sure. House is put for those who live in it. Okay, yeah. So greet everybody. Greet everybody. And if, if the house is worthy, household would be a better way. Like, greet, when you enter a household, greet those within it. And if, the household is worthy, let your peace come on it. But if, it is not worthy, let your peace return to you. So, I don't know how your peace returns. This is such a fascinating thing. Like, I am placing my peace upon you, my shalom. It's there. Yes, greet those within it. Basic manners. Yes, basic manners. But I think there's more. It's also like you're bringing greetings from the kingdom to them as well. Not just, hey, everybody. Hello. No, more of a, I come in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. I am bringing that in here. I'm bringing it to you. So if they're worthy, then you let it remain. And if they prove themselves unworthy, take your peace back. Did we have anything in the footnote? The response to these messengers determines how God's blessing is bestowed. Excuse me. If the messenger is not welcome, their blessing will... Okay, so this is how they are treating you. This is how they are treating you. Oh, did you hit a wrong button there? All of a sudden I saw a message was deleted. Was that an accident? I wasn't sure what was going on there. I didn't see it. I saw it just boom and disappear before I could read it. And if, anyone will not welcome you or listen to your message, shake the dust off your feet as you leave the house or that town. I tell you the truth, it will be more bearable for the region of Sodom and Gomorrah on that day of judgment than for that town. Okay, so judgment came on Sodom and Gomorrah. Judgment will come. Judgment will be severe. Judgment will be long-lasting because Sodom and Gomorrah are permanently destroyed. You removed the timeout. Okay. We've got mods working overtime. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. The shaking off the dust. Do they have a footnote on this? To shake the dust off represented one level, shaking off uncleanness from one's feet. Another level, however, it is similar to the prophetic sign, represented the termination of all fellowship with the individual or localities that have rejected the message, along with their message of the coming kingdom of heaven. The essence constitutes a sign of eschatological judgment, as confirmed in the following verse. Also, we can go back to the idea of the gods have jurisdiction over the place where they are. So that's why if we go back to Gehazi coming with leprosy to get healed and then wanting to take dirt back with him to Syria, I believe it is. He wants dirt from Israel in Assyria because that dirt is the dwelling place and the jurisdiction of Yahweh, who is over the land of Israel. But he has different gods with different jurisdiction where he lives. So he's going to bring the dirt. So if you think about this, one of the best ways to think about it is what is it called? An embassy. An embassy in a foreign country is sovereign soil of the other nation. So if you're in an embassy in a foreign nation, you are protected inside of that nation. So the U.S. Embassy in another country is where you go as a U.S. citizen to get sanctuary from any rules, regulations happening in the city or in the country that you're in that is not the United States, but you can go into the embassy, which is sovereign soil. So that same idea is what happens here in the Old Testament and carried over to the New Testament, the sovereign soil of the God who rules over that people. So you shake the dust off because they are not people and followers of God. You don't want that sovereign soil of that other nation to come on you and be taken with you. I think is also a piece of what's going on here. Jurisdiction, absolutely, yes. You don't want the jurisdiction of that nation, that people, that group, or who they are serving instead of God to follow you as you go to bring the good news of the kingdom. David, and he answered and said, have you not read that he who created them from the beginning made them male and female, and for that reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one. What therefore God has joined together, let no man separate. Okay. So if you are not welcome, if they are not a person of peace, shake off the dust. Don't bring that dust with you. Yes, all these other things they said are true. Yes, it's a sign of eschatological judgment upon them. But also, you're not bringing that jurisdiction with you. You have brought in the jurisdiction of God. They rejected the jurisdiction of God. You're making sure you don't come with that jurisdiction anymore. We also could see this in the Temple of Dagon when the Ark of the Covenant is in the Temple of Dagon. It is the jurisdiction of Yahweh in the Ark that is put into the temple. Instead of it being a prized possession, the footstool of God is there, and Dagon falls down, and then they decide that stepping on the threshing floor is the jurisdiction of Yahweh, so they don't step on the not threshing floor, sorry, the threshold of the door. They do not step on there. They step over it when they go in because the doorpost had become the possession of Yahweh, so they step over it as to not touch and not get contaminated by a foreign jurisdiction in their temple. So that's how, I know that sounds so weird and foreign, but that's how this can be seen and understood. Okay. We're not done. He is still talking about them going out. I am sending you out like sheep surrounded by wolves, so be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Okay, do we have anything in the footnotes? The imagery of wolves is found intertestamental Judaism. Excuse me. For more on sheep imagery, okay, that's it. The craftiness of serpents is proverbial and can be traced as far back as Genesis 3:1 for how it applies to Jesus' disciples sending out with the message of the coming kingdom, interpreters have become far less certain, and there is a great diversity of opinion. Yeah, so how are you to be wise as serpents? Crafty as serpents. Doves are regarded as both Greek and Jewish culture of the first century as symbols of purity, integrity, and harmless. So, you are to be innocent as doves. This is the way you are to be seen. You are to be wise as serpents. So, how is what you do going to be perceived? You need to be innocent as doves. So, wisdom is going to tell you how to act so that you can maintain your good reputation within the community. When you do things that are going to hamper that, you are not being wise like a serpent. Does that make sense? Beware of people, because they will hand you over to councils and flog you in their synagogues. Okay. Is this while they're going out this time, or is this a warning for future? Since when they go out, I don't know, I don't remember Matthew's version, but one of the others goes out and they come back and rejoicing because all the stuff happened that God said was going to happen when they go out. So I think this is probably future. Laura, welcome in. And you will be brought before governors and kings because of me, as a witness to them and to the Gentiles. So, wait a minute. Don't go to the Gentiles. Don't go to the Samaritans. Only go to the lost sheep of Israel. But what is eventually going to happen is you're going to be brought before governors and kings because of me, and witnesses to them and to the Gentiles. So, not just now, but later. You had tea? Awesome. Whenever they hand you over for trial. Now remember, in the Sermon on the Mount, he talked about what we are to do, how we are to do it, and that we are going to be persecuted for his name's sake. Now he is sending them out, and he is reminding them that bad things are going to happen. Just because you follow Jesus doesn't mean you now only have good things happen. Bad things happen. The rain falls on the just and the unjust. We always think about that. But you know what also happens? The famine happens on the just and the unjust. Yeah, the drought happens on the just and the unjust. Matthew 4:7-9. Jesus said, again it is written, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test. Again the devil took him to a high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to them, all these things I will give you if you just fall down and worship me. Matthew 19, they said to him, why then did Moses command to give her a certificate of divorce and send her away? He said to her, because of your, it's going to be hardness of heart, but it jumped on me. Hardness of heart, Moses permitted you to divorce your wives, but from the beginning it has not been this way. And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife except for sexual immorality and marries another woman commits adultery. Okay. We're talking about going to in and out of houses and bringing the good news of the kingdom. So don't worry. Don't worry as you go. Bad things are going to happen. And you're going to be my witnesses in places you don't want to. You're going to go before kings and governors. And they will hand you over to trial. But don't worry about what you will speak or what you will say. For what you should say has been given to you, will be given to you at that time. For it is not you speaking, but the Spirit of your Father speaking through you. So, this goes back to the things that we're talking about. So if we've been playing or talking about demon possession, and we were looking at the Spirit coming upon a person and the words coming upon a person and giving you, we now have the Holy Spirit coming upon you, the Holy Spirit giving you the things, the Holy Spirit speaking through you. Yeah, that reminds me a whole lot of those passages we were looking at with the sending of a spirit to put the false words in your mouth. and that being from the Lord. And here we're going to have the Spirit of God coming upon to give you the words that you will say. In the midst of these things, when trials come against you, your witness will be true and not be false. Ooh, that is good. But Moses wasn't just writing what God told him, sort of. Some sort. Moses permitted you, not God. Well, okay, David, the argument isn't about whether it's God or whether it's Moses. Moses permitting or Moses teaching is just a reference to the Torah. It's just a reference to the first 5 books. That's all it is. Not Moses personally, necessarily. It could be Moses from a judgment that came about from things happening. They are making the claim of Moses, and so saying Moses permitted, but then Jesus appealing to it wasn't this way from the beginning, going back to Genesis, which predates Moses' giving of the law in Levitical law, Deuteronomical law, Numbers law, or even in Exodus. So saying going back to from the beginning is going back to Genesis and creation. So yeah, there's 2 small become one thing. Yes. Yeah, so Moses permitted, not saying that it's Moses and not God, but saying in the Torah permission is given. So, but the permission is given because of hardness of heart. Again, it is given to protect, to limit the damage caused. The same way that eye for an eye is there to limit the scope of something from being damage to people. Okay. So you're going to get handed over to trial, but don't worry about it. The Spirit will be with you. Brother will hand over brother to death, and a father his child. Children will rise against parents and have them put to death. Okay, this is not a surprising thing. This happens throughout history. I mean, just imagine an invading army, and they capture one person of the family, and they say, we'll spare your life if you tell us where everyone else is. Yep, let me do that. I want to live. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. I'm sorry, brother and sister. I want to live. You're going to die, but the only way for me to live is for you to die. I'll hand you over. But here, even more, it is handing over in agreement with the people who are going to do the thing. Laura made ham and cheese on English muffin. Interesting. Oh, yes, King David. Lots of people in the Old Testament had a lot of wives, but you think God just forgives them? I think God just forgave all their sins, those that followed the God law thingy in the Old Testament. Well, yeah, he forgives every sin. So, which is an interesting point there to think about, which they do have one occasion where they do, prophets that speak God. Yeah, exactly. They do have an occasion with Ezra when they come back from exile, and they are to, if they're following God, yes. They are to get rid of their foreign wives. And when it says foreign wives, I take that to mean that those wives are not following and serving God. Okay? If they were following and serving God, they would have become Israelites. Okay, so it is foreign wives who are serving and worshiping foreign gods, and you are to put them away, but you are to take care of them. That's the only time I see the example of it being anything other than hardness of heart and those kinds of things. And this wasn't a call to it. It was a call to religiously purifying the nation. And you're to take care of those that are sent out. Okay. So we have brother against brother, mother against father, and you'll be handed over by everyone because of my name. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. So endurance to the end. Endurance to the end will be saved. If endurance isn't required to the end, then why does it mention it here? If there is, and I know people use this phrase, and I know what they mean, because there is no one will pluck you out of the Father's hand. I get that. So enduring to the end has to do with our position and standing. So enduring to the end is not denying. Enduring to the end is not abandoning. Okay? So we can choose to abandon at any time. We can choose to reject at any time. Just take anybody that's married. Doesn't matter how long you've been married. I can just choose at any time to abandon my family, to reject my family, and to vamoose. I can do it at any time. Now, I'm not planning on it. I have no intention of it. I don't want to. But I'm just saying, enduring to the end, staying all the way through that. That's what I'm just getting at. It's like, so in my faith, I don't just, like, for instance, I don't just have a piece of paper that says I'm married and then I never see my wife again the rest of my life. That makes no sense whatsoever. I don't just have, I said a prayer one time to Jesus and one time to God the Father, and now I go do whatever I want because I got that. I said that prayer that one time. No, I have to endure to the end. I have to endure to the end. I have to be in right relationship. I have to be following after, seeking after, doing the things that God is calling us to do. It's not just I got my piece of paper. I got my ticket. No, it's not a golden ticket. It's not Willy Wonka. Whenever they persecute you in one town, flee to another. Interesting. The Greek word can either mean town or city. Okay, excuse me. They persecute you in one town, flee to another. This sounds like the description of what Paul does. Shakes the dust off his feet and goes to the next town. So he's already giving this as the way to do it. Flee to another. So maybe you have to flee. I wonder what the word is there. But it's not important enough to go, look, I tell you the truth. You will not finish going through all the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. You will not finish going through all the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. Now, the question here is, he's sending them out right now. Is this right now? You won't be able to before the Son of Man comes. When he comes, what? When he comes to reveal who he is by death on the cross, when he comes to reveal himself by resurrection, when he comes in a second coming. I know people want answers to that, but I frankly like when things are vague like that. So, yes, there is an already, and yes, there will be a and more, and yes, there is a still to come. King, but now I don't know why God is just like seems so hidden now compared to the Old Testament and prophets, all the many more that God did in the eyes of Israel. Well, sometimes, King David, it just depends on where you look. I mean, imagine the story of Balaam's donkey. How many people in the globe knew of the story of Balaam's donkey? It would have been a limited scope of people at the time who would have known that that was happening. So just because we have them and have all these stories from years and years later, we have collection of them. The time that many of these events are happening, they are limited in scope and limited in range of people knowing about them. So there may be multiple things happening simultaneously around the world, and we just have limited scope and availability to know that those things are still happening even today. Spartan of Gaming, good morning, friend. Yeah, New Testament as well. Aranga, you're about to flee this home in this moment, meaning you need to say goodnight, sir. Thank you, Aranga, for hanging out, staying up, being in God's Word, joining the conversation with us. Appreciate you, friend. Have a wonderful night of sleep. Excuse me. A disciple is not greater than his teacher, nor a slave greater than his master. It is enough for the disciple to become like his teacher and the slave like his master. If, if they have called the head of the house Beelzebub, how much worse will they call the members of his household? So, yeah, hey, they just called me a member of the household of Beelzebub because I cast out demons. I'm sending you to cast out demons. What do you think's going to happen to you? It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. That's why I'm telling you all these things before you even go out. Do not fear. Do not be afraid of them. For nothing is hidden that will not be revealed, and nothing is secret that will not be made known. Ooh, but right now you don't know any of these things because what? He has not been revealed in his glory. So this points me to thinking, maybe this is about Jesus coming. Or, I mean, the revealing of himself through the resurrection and power. That before the Son of Man comes in his glory is the resurrection glory, not return glory. But maybe not. What I say to you in the dark, tell in the light. And what is whispered in your ear, proclaim from the housetops. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Instead, fear the one who is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. While destroy is sometimes taken to mean annihilation, it does not necessarily have to imply that here, eternal death. There are some Jewish intertestamental texts that appear to reflect a belief in everlasting punishment of the wicked. Oh, yeah. Interesting point there. Destroy the body and soul. Yeah, so that's not something we're going to solve. Whether or not there's annihilation or whether there's not annihilation. And I don't think it matters. I really don't think it matters. King David, do you think there's still prophets today? I don't think so, but it's possible, I guess. Well, it depends on how you identify what a prophet is. If you're identifying a prophet as someone who proclaims the truth of God, then yeah, I think there's prophets all over the place. If you think a prophet is someone who has a special relationship, who hears the voice of God without looking at Scripture at all and has new revelation that is being shared with people, then I'm going to say, no, I don't think so. If you think a prophet is someone who just has, and we see that singing is also a part of prophesying. Prophesying is declaring God's truth, so even singers could be in there. Do we have people who are declaring God's truth all over the place, called to be that, equipped to be that, gifted to be that? Oh, yeah, there's lots of prophets. It just all depends on how you define what a prophet is. Okay. Aren't 2 sparrows sold for a penny? The penny refers to a Roman copper coin. Okay. Yet not one of them falls to the ground apart from your Father's will. Even all the hairs on your head are numbered. So do not be afraid. You are more valuable than sparrows. So, sparrows are of very little value. You're of more value. God even knows the number of hairs on your head. I always found that as an interesting thing. Like, God knows the details of you that you don't even know yourself. I think that's the point there. Like, have you counted the number of hairs on your head? Anybody ever tried to do that? I'm not ever going to try. No. Whoever then acknowledges me before people, I will acknowledge before my Father in heaven. Whoever denies me before people, I will deny before my Father in heaven. Okay, so we just had that come up and come up again. We had endure to the end. Where was that at? Excuse me, I have the yawns today. I am feeling like I need a nap. Okay, so enduring to the end involves acknowledging. So, if you are not acknowledging, do we have anything in the footnote there for acknowledging? Confessing. To acknowledge something in ordinary public, to acknowledge or confess him also. So, and we didn't have a footnote on the deny. Interesting. Onesimus, Jeremiah 1:5. Behold, I formed thee in the belly, I know thee, And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Yeah. The God's knowledge of us is more intimate than our own knowledge of ourselves. So, do not think I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have come to not bring peace, but a sword. Well, I thought you were pronouncing that the kingdom of heaven is here. Exactly. Exactly. The kingdom of heaven is contrary to the kingdom of the world. And he told us how upside down this world is in Matthew 5 through 7 in the Sermon on the Mount. Now the good news of that kingdom of the world is upside down, and we need to write it and follow God is going forth. That isn't going to bring peace initially. It will bring lasting peace, but it is going to throw upheaval for those people that want to resist coming under the rule and reign and authority of the Prince of Peace. They're going to fight against it, and that is going to bring the sword against it. David, in Old Testament Israel, literally won battles mostly because they asked directly of God's advice what to do in the battle after all. Oh, yeah. Prayer time, Lucis. All right. Laura, your support worker's dad just recently passed away. Please keep her and your family in prayer. Okay. Yes, and King, and when God's not with them, they lose the battle because they angered him or did if they are not with his advice. Yeah, they're doing it on their own power, and it fails. So here we need to do it with God's power and go forth and bring him with. All right. Any other prayer requests? Go ahead and put those in the chat. God, we're lifting up Laura's support worker's dad, family, as her dad recently passed away. Just be with them, surround them with love, surround them with comfort, surround them with fond memories, surround them with hope. Give them peace, give them everything they're in need of, and watch over them. Give them what they need for today, and pour out your blessings, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Now you don't know. Well, now we aren't a theocracy, which is a nation ruled by God. So we are the kingdom of God, and we are the body of Christ. So, yeah, there's different levels at which different people within the body are having things raised up against them, but the point of this being endurance to the end. And then Jesus will defend you. For I have come to set a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's enemies will be the members of his own household. So he said up above that these will be the case, that is what's going to happen, and now he reinforces it again. Zachman85, welcome in. Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever does not take up his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life because of me will find it. All right, let's see what we have the footnotes. The statement demands uncompromising radical loyalty to Jesus, a loyalty so powerful that it surpasses normal human relationships, even familial ones. Axios worthy means does not deserve to belong to me, is not worthy to be my disciple, or perhaps is not worthy to participate in the kingdom. To be undeserving of Jesus is to be undeserving of the kingdom he brings. Okay. Every criminal who is executed carries his cross. Jesus is speaking figuratively here in the context of rejection. If anyone's allegiance to Jesus does not absolutely priority, then one will not follow him in the face of possible rejection and persecution. So, yeah, he's talking about the severity and the difficulty of the thing he is calling us all to do. Yeah, I love how they say, loves his father. Whoever loves his father more than me is not worthy of me. I think there others are. It does not hate, and the negative side of it is in comparison. It's in comparison there. Not that God is calling us to hate anyone. Okay. Wow, it's a long passage, long section. Oh, excuse me. Let me just scroll a minute. Are we going to finish this? Not finish this? Yes. Okay. Whoever receives your reward, or sorry, whoever receives you receives me, and whoever receives me receives the one who sent me. So yes, if you accept I am here and they take you, then they are taking me. Whoever receives a prophet in the name of a prophet will receive a prophet's reward. Whoever receives a righteous person in the name of a righteous person will receive a righteous person's reward. And we can go back and look in the Old Testament where the person that builds a place for the prophet to dwell and to stay ends up having a child and receives reward from the way that they bless. Or the widow that has a son that they're going to die and receives the prophet has blessing upon them. So that is still true today, Jesus is saying. And whoever gives only a cup of water to one of these little ones in the name of a disciple, I tell you the truth, he will never lose his reward. So, loving others. Yeah, making you yawn, how dare you. I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's contagious, and I can't get rid of it this morning. Darn the time change. When Jesus had finished instructing his 12, he went on from there to teach and preach in their town. So this was all the instructions of you're going out. I'm sending you out. Here's where you are to go. Here's what you're to do. So go. Here's the warnings. Here's the problem. You need to endure to the end. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. But okay. Let's just look here. Yeah, that's what I thought. So we made it through Matthew 11. 11 verse 1. You can see a bad chapter break there, but they put it in the other. The verse, whoever loves his father or mother more is not worthy of me, literally means prioritizing God, and literally loves God first above all else. He must be number one in our hearts. That's how we see it. Totally. I was bringing in the other passage, which I believe is the other gospel that says, does not hate his father or mother. So yes, it is a comparison of prioritizing. Yeah, absolutely agreeing with you. Just saying it a different way. I made it's cookies, Laura. Try it again. I made a new command to try to fix it. Zachman, I find it difficult to follow Jesus' advice because sometimes I want to give more than what your dad allows me to give, but your dad has such strict limits on how much I should give. Well, there's also the honoring your father and mother, Zachman, and to that degree, God knows your heart, and if you're currently unable to give more, then you're currently unable to give more. So, and parents will have other reasons for why they do or don't do things at different times. Yeah, exactly. So, God knows your heart, and yeah, exactly. Follow your dad's advice. Yep. Yeah, this isn't about hating your father and mother more. Now, I will say there may be a time when God specifically calls you to do something and give more, and your dad is saying no, and you feel convicted by the Holy Spirit that you need to do it, and you'll have to wrestle through that with prayer and that through that circumstance. So, All right. Anyway, that is going to finish us up for our reading today. I am going to get changed here so that I can do the workout and get my stuff set up before 10 o'clock. So I got 10 minutes to do that. And then we'll be switching to workouts. So, Onesimus, and Jesus sat over against the treasury and beheld how the people cast money into the treasury, and many of the rich cast in. And there came a certain, we had read this one not too long ago. Verily unto thee, the poor widow hath cast more into the treasury than the others did. Yes. So we can give a smaller amount. We just looked at this. I can't remember if we did this on Transform Thursday, or was this in our reading last week in Matthew? But yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to give you the fish. You know what? I'm going to give you the BRB screen, actually. I'm going to give you a full BRB, and we'll be going into an ad break. And when I get back, I'll try to set everything up so that we can do exercise. And if you want to join along, you're welcome to. And if you want to just laugh at me, I'm all good with that too.
Attention streamers, content creators, gamers, and cosplayers. Last year, ReachConf was an absolute blast. An in-real-life celebration where creators connected, impactful speakers inspired, gaming tourneys, on-stage shenanigans, and fantastic music kept the energy high. It was more than an event. It was a community coming together. Get ready for ReachConf 2025, happening November 6 to 8. All the best parts of gaming and creative culture will be there, live and in person. Last year, we hit capacity, and even with increased numbers this year, tickets are sure to sell fast. Don't miss your chance to be part of the ultimate IRL experience. Grab your tickets now and join the movement.
All right, testing the mic. Check 1, 2. Let me know if mic's working. I'm switching mics here. Just yes in the chat. Be sufficient. Sounds good? All right, awesome. Gonna go ahead and switch over to the fish. Enough dancing for you.
Attention.
Flat cap pastor rocks his tweed, streaming life by the reeds. Fish pond calm and glassy clear, view it all right from you. Dapper man with Saxon head, plays tunes by his quiet land. Acoustic guitar.
All right.
Serenades the fish with ease. Watch the fish, they swim along to the rhythm of his song. Flat Cat Pastor shows the way. Stream it live, come what may.
There we go. Go down just a wee bit. So, all right, I need to change what we're doing here. Let me find that a second. And whoa, that's loud. Okay, so those who haven't been here, I'm going to end this stream, restart the stream. That way I can have a new title on it that's going to be different. So then, let me get that in here. Okay. All right. All right, so if you don't come back, hit a refresh and we should be here. So stopping in 3, 2,